go. Good morning, friends. New Carby. I like this rose color. Alright. Oh, well. Nice Carby. Yeah, nice color, nice features. No brain cells. Yeah, that's about right. I'm sure that's fine for the camera. Good morning. Apologies if this is at a weird time for you. Daylight savings time has happened. So this is the new 10 a.m. Apparently. I am even less awake than usual, so this is fine. We'll just roll with it. It's fine. It only happens twice a year. But yeah, hi, I'm SJ. I am here to sew things and probably crochet things a little bit later. But we're gonna start out with sewing with the usual hexagon project. I am behind again by not too many, a few of the hexagons. So we'll start with that. First one is a 2. Nice and easy. But yeah, hopefully everybody's having a nice enough Sunday so far. There will be a D&D recap in about 50 minutes at the top of the hour. We did indeed have session yesterday. But yeah, otherwise we be chillin'. Unsure if I'll go for the entire 4 hours today. I've got a bit of a headache, but that might just be daylight savings time hangover. We'll see if coffee helps. Speaking of coffee,
Special delivery, Kupo coffee.
thank you.
Also, reminder, I have called wife dibs for a duck to be named Kuplo Quack.
If you go take a close look at the ducks, you will find it has already happened.
Oh no, I missed it?
I did it before going live.
Monster.
Sorry. You didn't redeem the channel points for it.
That's true.
You
I
called
used
special. You called special privilege.
I used
so
my one wife dibs for a duck.
Yep. So yes, if you look closely, there is now a duck named Kuplo Quack. Because my wife requested it. And I figured, I guess at least once, she wouldn't have to pay the channel points for it. Eventually we'll have all of the ducks named. I figure that's gonna take a very long time, but I'll have to figure out what happens when that occurs. Maybe we switch it to bits and you get to rename a duck? I don't know. Well, it's a long way away. That's a very long way away. Don't seem to accumulate channel points that quickly, probably because you spend them on the Carby. Yeah, and I only stream once a week. I am gonna try to start upping that. I'm gonna try to start streaming on weekdays again. Which I guess also still doesn't help you because of time zones. Which is unfortunate. I suppose I could put in a bits option too, but I don't want people to feel like they have to spend bits. Yeah, to be honest, you would only catch me once a week anyway. Yeah. sucks that you don't accumulate channel points for watching VODs. I feel like you really should. Even if it's at like half a rate or something. No, I don't think there's channel points for watching VODs. At least not the last time I looked. Also, good morning, Merlin. Also, I guess, good morning, Kara. As though this isn't like the third time I've said that to you this morning. This is the most awake you've been when I've said it yet this morning. Fair. But yeah, if we go for a little while and we find that 50,000 is a bit too high for naming a duck, I can reduce it. I just kind of picked that number somewhat arbitrarily because I honestly have no idea how many channel points people have. Or how fast they accumulate. So if we need to reevaluate and rebalance, I can totally do that. It being hot. Well, yeah, I do also have it set to only once per stream, which is also helpful. But yeah, I didn't want to set it too low, because then all of the spots get taken up too quick. Had over 75k. Yeah, I think Kuma mentioned he has quite a bit too. But yeah, like you were saying, Kits, you tend to spend them on the Carby. So maybe 50,000 is okay. People just have to prioritize. I know, sounds weird. Okay, next. That's 8. It gives people incentive to watch streams, not that this group needs it. True. For some reason, y'all are invested. But yes, I am planning to start streaming on the weekdays again. Probably a playthrough of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, because I've had a hankering to play that lately. I meant to do it this week, and then this week just kind of got away from me. To be honest, I'm not sure what happened this week. Besides stuff. Explorers of Sky, which is objectively the best of them. I need to, well, actually, probably after stream today, make sure that's all set up and ready to go. Bless you, Kara. I just heard tiny sneezing noises from downstairs. Am I gonna game my starter or take whichever the questionnaire assigns me? Not sure, because so the thing with Explorers of Sky is it doesn't just give you the option to pick afterwards. If you want to game it, you have to go back and do the quiz again and hope that it gives you options that lead to your desired starter. So what I'll probably do is I'll just play through the quiz normally and see what it gives us. And if it gives me a Pokemon I'm really not fond of, then I might reset and try again. Like, you can find guides with all of the different questions and what personality values it assigns, but there's still like twice as many questions as there are spots in the quiz, so which ones the game decides to present you are still completely random. So, like, even if you know you're going for, say, the serious type starter, you might not get enough questions that present you with a serious type answer. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to actually game the quiz. So we'll see. I'm not gonna sit and reset the quiz for like hours and hours and hours to get a specific starter, but I might reset it a couple times until I get one where I go, oh, okay, this'll work. Or, okay, I can live with this one, kind of thing. Definitely awake, definitely able to remember numbers. Our partner, though. Our partner will absolutely be picked from the list, and no points for guessing which one. Same starter we always pick, Pinky. What is the list? That's a good question. Let's see here. I can spell. Okay, so the starters for Explorers of Sky. So no, that's not what I wanted. So there were a couple that were exclusive to Sky. But from Gen 1, we had Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, Pikachu, Vulpix, Meowth, and Eevee. Gen 2 gave us Chikorita, Cyndaquil, and Totodile, and then Phanpy. Gen 3 gave us Trico, Torchic, Mudkip, and Skitty. And Gen 4 gave us Turtwig, Chimchar, Piplup, Shinx, Munchlax, and Riolu. Were the starters for Explorers of Sky. And then I think as a partner, where's my partner list? As a partner, there were a couple extras you could choose from. Let's see if I can find that list. No. Maybe that was it for the partners for Sky too. Yeah, I think that was it. So that list, you took a quiz to determine which one you were, and then you could choose from that list who your partner was. And yeah, Merlin's got it. Absolutely Totodile. Meowth would be a fun one to be me, like if I was able to get myself for Meowth. But again, we're not going to go for a specific one. We'll just kind of reset a couple times until we find one that we can live with. Because the quiz is kind of a pain for the DS games. But if I become Totodile, ooh, oh, that's a good question. If I become Totodile, then yeah, probably Meowth as a partner. Speaking of Totodile, did I see that they have a sleeping plush for Totodile? I did. It's so cute. It's so cute. I already own like 3 different Totodile plush. But I could always have more. Plush toys in this economy? See, one of the worst days of the week is here again. No, actually, discussing, I'm gonna look to try to start streaming on weekdays again, if I can remain awake after work. And I'll be doing a playthrough of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky. So we were discussing the starters for that game. But yes, Legend ZA, I will also be picking Totodile, thank you very much. Everyone go back to bed, daylight savings is the devil. So true, bestie. I'm only here because of the D&D recap, I'll be honest. Oh, come on. And yeah, I could have delayed it and recapped next week, but meh, I'm here now. I could go back to bed and recap next week. It's true. It's fine, I'm here now. To be honest, even if I did end stream, I probably wouldn't go back to bed. I would just go vibe in Minecraft for like a couple hours while my brain continued to be mush. That's usually what happens. Brain mush usually means play Minecraft. Yup, daylight savings time started today for us. Also, good morning, Dubby. All in on the Chikorita. I mean, worst of the Gen 2 starters is subjective. Like, honestly, it's fine. I actually really like all of the Gen 2 starters. clearly Totodile is like my baby because he's so dumb. But like Cyndaquil and Chikorita are excellent. There's not any of the Gen 2 starters that I dislike, unlike some of the later gens. One more. Again, definitely awake, definitely can keep numbers in my head. Mathematically speaking, I thought in Gen 2 they were still doing the thing where all of the starters had the same stat totals. They were just distributed in different stats. I could be wrong about that though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This one. Totals are less important than where they go. That's fair. That is actually a fair point. Stat distribution is indeed important. Especially in the early gens. Alright. Let's use a thread I can actually see. Have you spotted Kuplo Quack yet, Kara? Should be in there somewhere. Theoretically, that pool has at least one of every duck. Other than the ones that can escape through various methods. My Gen 2 starter was definitely Totodile. I don't remember now why I ended up picking Totodile. But yeah, it has remained my favorite. I think I picked Totodile because I got Crystal pretty much when it came out, and I don't, and again, this was like in what, 2000, 2001, before the internet was really a thing. So I'm pretty sure when I first started playing Silver, I had no idea what the starters evolved into, and I think I picked Totodile under the assumption that it would be a dinosaur. Despite, you know, its name being Totodile. Not that I was disappointed, because Feraligatr is awesome, but I think I picked it based on its dinosaurness. Always just picked the fire starter? Fair. Oh, I asked if you had found Kuplo-Quack yet. This pool should theoretically have one of every duck, except for the ones that can escape through various methods. Gen 1 was Squirtle because Turtle. I think I picked Charmander for my very first playthrough of Red. Again, I don't remember why, but probably dinosaur. Yeah, I called it Chomper. So my Totodile has and always will be Chomper from the Land Before Time movies. So yeah, most likely dinosaur thoughts. What is an alligator if not a terrifying modern dinosaur? That's a good point. Fair point, you know. Alright, so there's this week's hexagons. You caught glimpses of the nameplate but not got a clear view of the duck? Alright, well, keep watching. If you haven't been able to spot it by the time I go on break, maybe I'll see if I can zoom in on it for ya. There we go. Call that shuffled. Fish the main piece out from under my crochet. Yeah. Good morning, Kitty. Welcome. Welcome to the even more awake than usual Totally Awake Club. Definitely not at all extra sleepy because of daylight savings time. Appear to be talking about fake Pokemon. Look, Kitty, other Pokemon exist. I promise you. are exactly 152. 152, hang on. That's up one from yesterday. Which extra Pokemon are you acknowledging now? Ah, 150 plus Mew plus Yoshi. That makes sense. Oh, and Missing No. Yeah, that's fair. Missing No is indeed... well, technically Missing No is number 000, but yes. That would be the 152nd Pokemon that you can find in Red, Blue, and Yellow. No, Reverb. We don't talk about M-Dash. M-Dash will corrupt your save. Don't ever catch M-Dash. Just Missing No. Man, I kind of miss the days when video games had, like, mysterious and explorable, but, like, ultimately fairly harmless glitches, like the ones in Red and Blue. Like, I had so much fun as a kid, like, hunting Missing No and, like, walking around in Glitch City. Or, I remember I totally believed there was a I don't know where it came from, but there was one of those schoolyard rumors going around that after Togepi debuted in the anime, that you could totally catch Togepi in Yellow version. That it was in there somewhere. And I remember trying, like, all of these different supposed methods to get Togepi to appear. Yeah, and the item duplications, yup. I definitely glitched myself a whole bunch of Master Balls and Rare Candies. Yup, trying to surf strength on the truck by the SS Anne. Yup, I definitely did that. Because, like, it worked, right? Like, you could totally follow the steps and get back to that area of water without the SS Anne leaving, and you totally could surf over to the edge, and there totally was a truck there that didn't appear anywhere else in the game. There had to be a secret there, right? Yup, and using the Cinnabar Coast surfing trick to get Safari Zone Pokemon, I definitely also did that. The best is that's where they put Mew in the Let's Go games with a code. Yes, I love that, to be honest. I love that they acknowledge that. Oh, did Missing No pay us a visit? That's interesting. Concerning, but welcome. Missing No knows that we are talking about it. Remember to duck if you see a level 227 Golbat. For me, I believe I remember that it was level 121 Starmies. Because the glitched overleveled Pokemon, I believe, show up based on whatever your trainer name is. Because that's what it tries to write into the encounter data place in the table. Because, of course, there's actual coding reasons for all of these glitches. And it's kind of fascinating to read about. But yeah, I believe the overleveled Pokemon, the level and species was determined by whatever your trainer name was. You can find like analysis and tables of like, here's what to name yourself to get this specific result. I was never really into Link battles, but I definitely remember my friend and I in like grade 4 and 5 sitting together on the school bus trading Pokemon back and forth, because I think we had, I don't think we planned it that way, but I think we had opposite versions. So we would trade the version exclusives and like the trait evolutions and stuff. I just remember sitting together on the bus fiddling with the link cable. Because we had like a half an hour bus ride, so what else were we gonna do? But I don't think we ever really battled. I think we were just kind of content to trade and then go back to our single player games. Had a month or so where I'd battle your girlfriend in Soul Silver on the train. Aww. Sounds like a fantastic way to spend the commute. For a while, Kara and I were doing a like a badge challenge. We should go back and finish that, actually. That was fun. Where we were both playing the same generation. Like, I think we were playing X and Y. And we would both play up until the first gym badge. And we would both get the first gym badge. And then we had to battle each other using the same team that we used to beat the gym. And then whoever won got to pick one of the other person's Pokemon and one of their own Pokemon and trade. And then that traded Pokemon had to stay on your team up until the next badge. You could shuffle the rest of your team around however you wanted. We would play up to like the second badge and battle the second gym leader. And then after that, we would battle each other again using that team. And whoever won would get to choose a trade. It was fun. We really should, we should get back to that. That was a lot of fun. It was X and Y because you never actually finished that game. That's right. Did not expect your infest strat to work so well in our first battle. I think I just wasn't prepared for it. I just had no way to deal with it. I had no way to kill you fast enough. remember really enjoying Sun and Moon. I liked them quite a lot. But of course, mileage may vary. Less that one specifically, more that you had a hard time playing X and Y and Auras. Fair. Yeah, that's fair. Missed the gym system early on and gave them a lot of shit for it, but they brought in so many quality of life things. Yeah, agreed. I actually really liked that they shook up the formula, but I totally understand that not everyone did. But yeah, the quality of life jumps in Sun and Moon felt like they were significant. Come on. Oh, yes. In about 10 minutes at the top of the hour, I will be starting D&D recap. So if you need to run in, like, grab the bathroom or refill your drink, please do so. And we'll see if I can remember anything from yesterday's session. Oh my god, I adore Pachirisu. Silly little squirrel. Although I fell in love with it because of Pickup, and Pickup specifically. But it's so cute. I love Pachirisu. Never did the HM slave thing. If I needed an HM, it went on one of my team mons, and I just did what I could to split them up as evenly as possible. That's usually what I did too. Sometimes, like, I definitely ended up with a Golduck at one point that knew 4 HM moves, but that wasn't deliberate. That was just how it ended up, and that thing actually kicked ass. Because I think it had surf, waterfall, rock climb, and strength. Or possibly rock smash. Either way, it actually kicked ass. And I hadn't, like, planned to teach it 4HM moves. It just kind of ended up that way. I never, like, deliberately set out to be like, here's this Pokemon and it's gonna stay at level 3 because I don't care about it. I just need it for HMs. Even if I had, like, an HM mule, it would always get trained along with everything else. But yeah, usually most gens, my HMs were just kind of split up between my Mons. Except for Flash. And usually what I did with Flash is I would teach it to a random Abra that would stay in the box until I got to, like, the one cave that needed Flash. And then it would go back in the box. You liked Flash, even used it when it was no longer an HM. That's fair. I was definitely one of those kids. So I started this habit when I was a kid, and I still struggle to kind of break myself from it. And if you watched my playthrough that I did of Platinum a year or two ago, you probably noticed I have a really bad habit in Pokemon games of just completely ignoring status effect moves or like stat changing moves unless it's like a secondary effect of an attacking move. Because as a kid, I was absolutely one of those kids that was like, oh, if the move doesn't do damage, it's worthless. And so I would just put all damaging moves, and if they happened to have a second effect, great. And that's kind of stuck with me through all of the games. I tend to be like hyper aggressive for attacks. Sometimes I'll have, like these days, like I think my Blossom from Sword and Shield has poison powder on her. Or occasionally I'll have like a sleep move. Like I'm getting better about it. But for the longest time it was just like, nah, if it doesn't do damage, it's worthless. Replace it as soon as possible. Yeah, exactly. The way I played was just steamroll. If ineffective, grind and then try again. Oh good, I'm glad it wasn't just me. Status effect moves are great. Yes. These days I agree, but I'm still liable to like I might use Sand Attack when my Mon is low leveled and has it. But I'm not gonna keep it for very long. It'll get replaced with something else fairly quickly. Even though, objectively, accuracy dropping moves are extremely useful. Especially later in the game. But that's just kind of never been the way that I play. I think Pokemon designed for casual play generally rewards just one-shotting everything. Absolutely. Also, hey Sharkfests. Hey Max, welcome in. Welcome to Pokemon Talk, I guess. Simply hit harder. Yes, exactly. Just be over-leveled. Know your type advantages, and just smash everything. Use Paris forever just because it learned Spore. Yo, Spore is so OP. I did not learn that until way too late. say align. I was gonna say, isn't it... I have no idea if you guys do daylight savings time or not. I have no idea if you're still 3 hours behind me or 4 hours behind me, but either way, seems early. But yes, welcome to the Totally Awake Club. We are all totally awake here. That is indeed the truth that Kate speaks. Strat for Whitney and Heart Gold Soul Silver was smokescreen, paralysis, and prayer. Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds like it would be pretty effective, actually. I don't remember how I used to beat her. I don't know if I had a specific strat. I think I remember as a kid I gave up on status moves because obviously you all probably know by now I love Clefairy. And I think the very first time I played Red, I had a Clefairy and Sing was so inaccurate that I was like, screw this, it's worthless. All attacks all the time. Ooh, yeah, that sounds really cool. Don't know what the occurrence was, but there was a First Nations group out front with drums and stuff an hour or so ago. And despite your sleep crimes, you're very glad you were awake for that. Yeah, that sounds really cool. Yeah, I wonder what the occasion was. Whether it was a holiday or whether it was like a personal celebration / occasion kind of thing. Neat. Okay, so it's 11 o'clock here, which means time for D&D recap. So yesterday's session was kind of I was calling it the cave system epilogue. So from last session, we had just finished up clearing out Wave Echo Cave. We had taken out all of the, shall we say, supernatural. We had taken out the Wizard Mormusk, which seems to have deactivated any of the undead that were still wandering around under his control. And we had confronted what remained of the Black Spider's crew, who were cleaning up after the ritual that we completely failed to stop, which I'm sure is fine and will not cause future problems for us whatsoever. It's fine. Nothing is attacking us immediately right now, so it's fine. It's out of date again. Oh no, sorry, Kate. I mean, it's only sort of out of date. We had indeed found Gundred's brother. So technically we had found both of Gundred's brothers. It's just that one of them had unfortunately passed away. But the other brother we managed to find alive. And after managing to convince him that, yes, this slime man is definitely your reincarnated brother, we promise, pinky swear, we took a long rest, we leveled up. We are level 8 now, which is amazing. And then we had a few things we wanted to take care of in the cave system before we left. So, first things first, we wanted to play around with these fun elemental braziers that were scattered around. So, Lash has this nifty non-magical glaive. And it would be really nifty if it did some elemental damage. So he dipped it into the brazier that's burning with radiant fire. And presumably the Legend of Zelda item get jingle played, you know, the do-do-do-do. And his glaive was enchanted to deal an extra 1d4 radiant damage. Yay! And then we took a long rest, and when we woke up in the morning, the enchantment had worn off. Sadness. But from that, we were able to gather that you can use the braziers to put a temporary enchantment on things, and then you can kind of run them through the Spellforge with, the proper, all of the proper stuff. And once they get put through the Spellforge, that's what makes the enchantment permanent. Oh, hey Max, thank you for the follow as well. I just saw that, just noticed that. Thank you. So, and unfortunately the Spellforge, of course, is the bit that's not up and running at the moment. So we have access to temporary enchantments, but we can't quite make them permanent yet. And also Randus mentioned that part of why they're wearing off is just the age of the braziers, because these things are like literally thousands of years old at this point. They probably would have been more effective or longer lasting when they were first created, which, fair, I guess. So as we woke up from our long rest, we noticed, well, Bram noticed first, I think, or at least I'm the one that kind of had Bram talking, that on Teetgarn's bedroll was not a Teetgarn. Instead, there was a female drow, just kind of sitting cross-legged on Teetgarn's bedroll, meditating. And Bram kind of, rightly kind of went, what the fuck? Who are you? How did you get here? Yeah, Arendelle Ledran. Lendarine, I can read. Arendelle Lendarine. Exactly. And in talking to her, we were able to determine that she is also from Ravnica. Sort of. Asterisk. She is from Faerun originally, and is quite pleased to be back in Faerun. But she had somehow ended up in Ravnica and had been crafting or researching a way to get back to Faerun. And Teetgarn apparently had some sort of a ring that was sort of the other end of a link. So basically, and above table, this is, so with Svother, they occasionally switch back and forth between these two characters, depending on how they're feeling that day and which one they're vibing more. So Arendelle is Hope's character, and then I believe Teetgarn is kind of more of Alex's character, is the way that it works. But yeah, whichever way Svother is vibing, they're able to freely switch back and forth, because so that Teetgarn and Arendelle are linked by this ring that they've got, and Arendelle can kind of activate it. She doesn't seem, in character, she doesn't seem super impressed with Teetgarn. She's just like, oh, this Boros Legionnaire. But she's like, whatever, I still have things that I occasionally need to take care of on Ravnica, so I will not always be here. I may occasionally switch back. And we're like, okay, cool, but you're not working with the Black Spider, right? And turns out, no, she doesn't really have any love for other drow. There is apparently some backstory stuff. She mentioned that other drow had blamed her for her elder sister's failings, so she does not want to work with other drow. She is interested in fighting dragons, so we're calling that a win. So yeah, she'll hang around. She may occasionally switch out with Teetgarn, but we have a new ally to fight dragons that isn't working with the Black Spider, and that's kind of all Bram cares about at the moment. So he's like, okay, cool. in trying to explain our situation, we were talking about, we came here to this cave system because of these two dwarves. Well, one of them is a dwarf and one of them is a slime man. There were reincarnation mishaps, don't worry about it. We noticed that as we woke up from the long rest, Gundred and his brother were both gone. So we were like, we should probably go find our dwarves. So we went to go find our dwarves and found them arguing over the Spellforge in like the engineer speak of like, oh, but we need to do this and then we need to do this, and like, look at these rusted parts and we'll have to get this replaced, and how do you think this works, and da 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 da. It's 11 a.m. Do you know where your dwarves are? Exactly. Yeah, we were really observant. 3 people left the room and 1 arrived while we were eating. Look, it was a long day. We were all very tired. And we were in an enclosed room in a dungeon that we had just cleared, so I don't think we set watches. We were just tired. Technically, she didn't know she was back on Faerun until we all told her. That's true. At this point, Glint, above table, Kara sat out yesterday's game due to an awful head cold and not being able to focus and wanting to eat, all of which are fair. So Glint was like, I'm gonna go cast that plant invigoration spell on that lovely cavern of glowing mushrooms that she had been planning to. So she scurried off to go do that. The rest of us kind of stood around and listened to Gundred and his brother and Lash discuss the Spellforge, because Lash is a blacksmith and Lash has background in this sort of thing, and Lash is finding all of this extremely fascinating. Yeah, no, we didn't set watches. Everything is fine. We were just tired. It's fine. So Lash, kind of sidled up to the brothers and started discussing the Spellforge and how it worked and how it might work, and how we should probably find a way to turn on the water wheel and that might help. And then the idea of going into the vault came up, and the brothers were like, oh yeah, the vault, there might be instruction manuals in there. We should definitely go and check out the vault. Which, remember, was previously guarded by our beholder friend, that we set free, and they left. So the vault is now accessible. So we head back into that room, and the door to the vault is closed with not even, like, it's a smooth stone door, with no handle, no visible lock, but there are, hand, impressions in the stone along the side of the door. One of them is at roughly human height and size. One of them is roughly dwarf height and size, and one of them is gnome height and size, which are the 3 races that formed the Old Alliance that built this place, so that, makes sense. We have a couple humans around. We have a dwarf. We don't have a gnome currently, but luckily we do have a slime man. So Gundred was able to kind of slurp his hand into the approximateness of a gnome, and after a little bit of finagling, he was able to make the door register him as a gnome, I suppose. And as the 3 of them, and Lash volunteered for the human side of it, and then of course Gundred's brother was the dwarf. And So as Gundred and his brother and Lash pressed their hands into the depressions, they felt like a warmth radiating out of the stone. And then an intelligence save happened. And Gundred's brother succeeded. And Lash failed, but was able to use a feat that they just gained access to auto-succeed. So they chose to do that. But Gundred failed. And so Gundred just kind of froze in place, completely incapacitated, unable to move. But the door slid open. So the door is now open, and Lash, standing right in front of it, was able to tell us, like, oh, it's clear, there's nobody in there. So Phalar went inside to kind of poke around and explore, while the rest of us were kind of, ineffectually, like, shaking Gundred's shoulder. But, like, as a slime man, he had, like, gone completely stiff. So, Bram's, like, trying lay on hands. We're trying various things. Like, Gundred, are you okay? Poke the slime man. Meanwhile, inside the vault room, Phalar is able to cast Detect Magic. And as he's looking around, there's a lot of stuff in the vault. There's shelving units across all of the walls that are all loaded with stuff. Above table, it's like every basic suit of armor in the player's handbook, every basic weapon in the player's handbook in various different metals. And all of the shelves have like stacks of notes and notebooks underneath. And as Phalar's looking through them, it's all stuff like it's research notes, basically. It's like, this sword is made out of this material, and it took this enchantment for this amount of time, and this enchantment for this amount of time. Like, it's all of the research notes that you would need of, like, here's how all of these different items and materials interacted with the elemental braziers and the Spellforge and things like that. As he's looking around, Phalar notices a couple things that are glowing to detect magic. One of them is a breastplate. It's like a golden colored breastplate that has an etched motif of a dragon like winding around it, that's glowing with magic. There is a mace that looks like the head of the mace looks almost like a sunburst. That's glowing with magic. And there's a little like knife-sized shard of something. It's got like strips of like leather and cloth that are wrapped around the base of it in what we termed as a good enough hilt. Good enough for now hilt. And trying to look at the blade is like, you can't really tell what it's made of because it almost looks like you're looking into a piece of the void. Like it's like an absence. It's like you're looking into a physical piece of nothingness. To which Phalar immediately went, ooh, yoink. Because this is the thing, a thing that Phalar has been looking for quite a while. Well, one of the things. It is a shard of what's called the Art Blade. That Phalar has been looking for quite a while. It does have substance. It does physically exist, but it's like you're looking into nothing. Yeah, it's a part of the thing that Phalar has been looking for. So Phalar immediately yoinks that. As he's poking his head back outside to kind of be like, hey, is anyone else gonna come in? And about that time, roughly a minute has passed. So Gundred kind of shakes himself and is like, ow, my head. And then immediately turns and grabs his brother's arm and is like, I know how it works. We're gonna need a lot of iron. So it turns out that when you fail the intelligence save to open that door, you get basically the instruction manual for the Spellforge downloaded into your brain. Which, you know, can cause a little bit of a migraine, but is also extremely convenient. And in kind of talking, it occurs to us that, okay, so the Rockseeker brothers are clearly going to be staying here. Like, Gundred and his brother, this is their goal, this is their life's work. Especially now that we actually cleared out all of the undead. And the cave seems to be fairly stable and safe now. They're staying here. Like, they are going to get the Spellforge up and running. This is exactly what they wanted to do. They are not leaving. However, the party will be moving on. So, once we leave, they're going to be lacking a human to be able to open this door, which we point out to them. And Gundred's like, oh yeah, that's a good point. Let's move everything out of the vault. Like, let's just clear it out, empty it out, so that once we leave and they're unable to open the door, at least Gundred and his brother will still have access to all of the research notes and the materials and everything. So we do that. It takes us and Gundred is also able to tell us, so part of the brain download is that all of the cave's defense systems and like how they work and stuff, also he also learns all of that. So he's able to tell us, like, oh, the door will stay open, but it's only going to stay open for an hour, and then it'll shut, and we'll have to reopen it again. So it takes us a couple hours to clear out the vault, which means we have to reopen the door a couple times. And in that time, both Lash and Landon are able to deliberately fail their saves and get the knowledge of the Spellforge. So at least there's that. The brothers didn't seem to care or mind, or possibly didn't notice that that was happening, and that other people now know how it works. I'm sure it's fine, especially since Lash, sort of proposes to the brothers, like, hey, I have this blue dragon I need to go take care of, but after that, what if I came back and helped you? Because the thing is, Gundred is a researcher. He's kind of a nerd. His career has been built on digging through libraries and finding information and synthesizing that information. And his brother is a field researcher, but still a researcher. He's very good at, like, analyzing the environment and reading inscriptions and finding context clues and that kind of thing. Neither of them are particularly good at, say, hey, we need to make a replacement for this cog that has rusted over. But as I mentioned, Lash is a smith and has a lot of interest in this kind of thing. So Lash proposes, hey, how about once I've kind of wrapped up with this blue dragon nonsense, how about I come back here and help you guys get this Spellforge back up and running? And in return, probably Lash will ask for, weapons and help for his homeland, but that's kind of his business. That will remain to be negotiated. But the brothers were absolutely like, oh my god, yes, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. They start, like, going through their lists and, like, putting stars next to things that they know, Lash will be able to help them with. Kind of, putting a pin in them for when Lash comes back, etc., etc. So we have a retirement plan for Lash now, which is fantastic. And it's a retirement plan that will keep him in the area for at least a while, which is also useful, probably. And it means he potentially won't have to walk the 2,000 miles to go home, which is also good, potentially. Retiring at the old age of 28 or something. Yeah, exactly. So once we get the vault cleared out, Gundred and his brother and Lash kind of go back to crawling all over the Spellforge, poking it with sticks, trying to figure out what bits are needed, especially now that they know how it works. And the rest of us kind of head down to the mushroom room, where Glint has been casting her, probably dancing around in circles, casting her mushroom invigoration spell. As it finishes, and as she's like, just doing the last little bits of the spell, Bram kind of has a thought as they're all standing around waiting on her to finish. It kind of occurs to Bram that she's casting